Hey, did you know that Two Girls Shooting the Shit is on Instagram and Facebook? We'd love to hear your feedback, episode suggestions, or just chat with you about life. So follow, comment, and share. Race, 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 race.
Pretty much.
Always something. I'm sure the next time we talk, there's a million things will have happened regarding race in the United States alone.
Hey Mo,
Hey, Em. Hey, girl, what's up?
how you doing?
I am great. Happy 2021.
Hey, this is our first episode recorded in the new year.
Yes. What's on your mind today?
We were chit-chatting a little bit before we started recording about just the news of the day. Another black man was shot and no justice, basically, in Wisconsin. Shot 7 times in the back, paralyzed, in front of his children. And so this kind of ties into what we had pre-planned for today anyways. We wanted to talk about race and just racial awareness and just our own experiences. So sad news, but it's also relevant to what we wanted to discuss today. Mm-hmm. So we talking about race or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
Race, I think race and racism, more specifically, is such a huge topic. We could talk for hours. So it's probably best that we break it up because I know there's a lot we want to talk about, and maybe just talk about the beginning. When did you first realize you were black?
I really don't know when I first realized I was black, but definitely looking at movies and things like that helped me to understand the struggle of black people. I think for me, when I was a kid, it was more being bullied by other black kids because other black kids would tell me that I was acting white. And I didn't really know what that meant because I was in gifted and talented programs in school. And so people thought that because I was in those programs, I guess. And then I was also a dork. I was socially awkward, very socially awkward. And people just accused me of acting white. And I did have a lot of white friends. I found they were welcoming to me. And yeah, so I didn't really understand the racism that was going on until I have a very good memory of when I was in about the 6th grade. And I had a friend, and she wanted to spend the night at my house. And her parents were like, no, like I can go to her house, but she couldn't go to mine. Oh. And so that was like my first encounter with racism directly.
And it was because of race?
I mean, I don't know. It was just the assumption. And my friend kind of suggested that as well. And so it was, yeah. So and it was interesting because we were we were in a middle class area and they were in like a more working class area. So it seemed like, it could have been a variety of things, but to this day, that is like something that I can actually remember and thinking like, why?
How did it make you feel?
It just made me feel like uncomfortable. I can't even describe it. It was just like an injustice. And I still remember it to this day. So it obviously stuck with me to see that in real life. And then another time I'll never forget was when I was maybe 10 years old or 9. My mom and I were going to Texas, I believe, from Georgia on the bus. And we had to transfer buses in Mobile or Birmingham, somewhere in Alabama. Yeah, we had to transfer buses. And so the bus driver announced before we got off that he wouldn't be driving anymore. And so he was sitting down eating in the station. And I told my mom when they announced the new bus, I said, oh, we have to go. And my mom was trying to throw shade. And she's like, what are you talking about? The bus driver's right there. And so she asked the bus driver, she was like, she's talking about we have to go on another bus and you're right here. And he just looked up like he was so disgusted. And he was like, I told you, you need to go to the other bus. And it's like, why is he talking to my mom like that? And I was already scared from movies and things. Like I didn't even want to be in those spaces. And, and then my mom, she was so deferential. Like, thank you, sir. And, that's how they were raised. And I was so disgusted. So seeing things like that, like calling younger people sir and ma'am and things like that. It's so funny. I wasn't called the N word until 6th grade. and And
Why is that funny to
and it was by a Hispanic guy or a guy who was Hispanic. And I remember this just goes to show like how race works. I remember like, oh, it doesn't count. He's Hispanic. And I'm like, what was I thinking in my mind? And then the second and last time I was called the N-word was
Jeez.
walking
so
down.
twice in your life.
Yeah. And the second time wasn't even directly. I was in a group of people. We were all walking and somebody screamed N-word, and that was it. So those were my experiences, but I think that for some reason never bothered me because I just knew like the word makes no sense. It's kind of like the C word for women. That word never bothered me because I don't really get the context. I know I'm not that, and I know I'm not the N word. And so it never really bothered me. But I definitely remembered because like you're on alert, like, oh shoot, I think I'm start calling me this every day. Or
I don't know. I have like a physical feeling when I hear that word.
So how did you find out about race?
I can't really think of when I realized. I mean, I feel like for me, there's two different realizations. One, that I'm not white or not normal or not, I'm other than.
Normal, what do you mean by normal?
Well, I feel like there's an idea of what an American looks like, let's say. And when you picture an American girl, she doesn't look like me. You know what I mean? Like you picture just like what's normal. What's normal is probably, a white person, blonde hair. It's that idea. It's the made up idea of what beauty looks like, of what an American person looks like.
Yeah, because isn't blonde hair rare? Like I feel like most people dye their hair blonde or something. I don't know. I feel like I heard something about that.
Just the understanding that I wasn't that, and then it was just kind of finding my place because I am biracial. So there's am I black? Am I Filipino? Sitting here today and looking back, it's easy to put things into words. It's easy to explain things today. But back then it was a very confusing situation for me and confusing for everybody else. I feel like it's getting more and more common to see mixed race children, mixed, interracial relationships, things like that. But growing up, it was confusing, but not in a negative way. They always have these debates where they're like, oh, you don't want to marry outside your race because what are your kids going to do? They don't know. I mean, that's all BS.
Yeah, what are your kids going to do?
Yeah, my kids are just my kids. That's a whole nother conversation. For me, I have, just like you, I've got moments that I remember from childhood that have stuck with me. One of them, the first time I was called the N-word was in third grade.
Oh,
and I was at and it was accompanied with being hit with with those mats that you take a nap on. They fold
and
down.
This is private school?
No, this wasn't in school. This was like summer camp. Day camp while my mom was working. Yeah, and this boy called me the N-word and hit me with one of those nap mats or whatever. I don't even remember what we were talking about or if it came out of nowhere or what. I have no idea. But the next time and the last time, so called the N-word twice, was in D.C.
To your face.
Yes, to my face twice. But in D.C., and it was a homeless woman that I had seen all the time. She lived by our apartment. She had commented on my dog. She was always very nice. And then all of a sudden, she must have been going through something because she started going crazy. I said hi to her, because I knew her. I see her every day when I walk the dog. I said hi to her, and she called me out my name. She called me an N-word, and then started going off about stuff, and I ran across the street because she was coming at me.
Oh, no.
So that was a scarier experience, because she's obviously, had some mental issues that she was dealing with. So I didn't know if I was safe. And I had a physical reaction, like you're calling me something, like, and you're coming at me. So that was an experience.
It's interesting that both of your experiences had some form of violence attached to them.
Yeah.
Either someone charging at you or someone actually physically hitting you.
Yeah. And it's weird too, because I don't know that I fully feel like I belong in the category of just blackness. I put in quotes black community because I really don't understand what black community means. Because
especially in America.
We're so diverse. Yeah. That was that. But I mean, as a child, I remember being in fourth grade. I had two of my closest friends over, and they were in my backyard. We had a pool, and we were just kind of hanging out. I didn't really understand the concept of sunbathing and all of that stuff. That's not really, as a child, that was not anything I saw anybody doing around me. But they were kind of laying out, and I remember they asked a question. They said, "Don't you wish you had blonde hair like us?" And I don't know why that sticks in my head, because it never occurred to me to want blonde hair. Like I had never like, it's never been a goal of mine to have blonde hair. I'd never even thought about it at that point, because obviously I cannot have blonde hair. Like why would I wish for that? But it planted a seed in me to think about, should I want blonde hair? You know, like, am I supposed to?
Hair could be a whole episode, because
sure
that is so tied into, I got hair from all sides, black and white, because I have that thick, kinky hair, and boy, oh boy.
I love it.
And then the perms and the torture, and sorry, you just brought up some pain.
Yeah, so that was my othering moment. And then I've had just different issues, being surrounded by Black people or Filipino. I mean, I think the most painful for me wasn't feeling out of place amongst other Black people. It was more so, I grew up around my mom's side of the family. So Filipino family, Filipino culture, Filipino language, you know. A lot of the things I identify with are from my mom's side. My dad's side's in Chicago, so we saw them every couple years or whatever, but I didn't have that family connection like I did with my mom's side of the family. And so, went to college, I went to UCLA, and my freshman year, it was like, okay, I gotta make friends, gotta meet people. And my roommate went to a Chicano Student Association or something, I forgot what it was called. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll see. Maybe, this is my first experience with multiple races, groups, clubs and stuff, because I went to mostly white schools. And I went to a meeting for the Filipino group there. And I speak Tagalog. I understand Tagalog. And I walked into the room and all eyes were on me and they were speaking in Tagalog. She must be lost. What is she doing?
Oh, shoot.
And it was that feeling of like, can't breathe. Like I lost, got the wind knocked out of me. And it was eye-opening. It was also very hurtful because I had always belonged in a group of Filipinos, So I left. I just walked out, and then
you didn't say anything?
No, and I just joined the ASU, African Student Union. That's where I was at, and I didn't fit in there either. It's been a journey to find where I fit in and realize I don't. So whatever.
I agree. I feel like culture is so diverse, and especially in the United States. What is Black culture? We had slavery for all of these years. Like, we're still getting out of it. There's so many things in the Black community, quotes, that we are not addressing that need to be taken care of. I don't know how. Like, I have no idea. I feel like people are more interested in capitalizing off of this pain than actually fixing the problem. Mm-hmm. And so I identify as Black. I think I didn't have confidence, though, because of all of the bullying and things like that, of being told that I'm acting white and things like that. And then not seeing that in other Black people. It wasn't until I was in college and then I got out on my own, like meeting you, for instance, and just meeting other Black people who had different interests and weren't this stereotypical Black person. And so whatever that means, I think that's when I became firm. But honestly, I think it was in my 30s that I really became confident being Black, because I realized that we're powerful. That's why people are out to get us on every angle, and just stepping into my power and understanding who I am as a person. What Blackness is to me, I have no idea. What is it called? A phenotype or something like that. It's my skin color.
The science of it all.
Yeah. And I did the 23andMe and found out, I'm primarily from Nigeria and Ghana. That'll be a whole different topic because, I'll never be accepted by those people. There is an elitism, I don't know what you call it, but there is a separation between Black Americans and Africans, unfortunately, that I hope to bridge that divide somehow, but I don't know how at this time.
Would you like to go to Nigeria or to Ghana?
I would. Yeah. I do. I'd at least step foot on the continent by going to Morocco, but I want to actually go to see people who look like, I just feel like it'll be a spiritual experience to see people who look like me, to see my roots, to see where I came from. That is on my list, Sub-Saharan Africa, for sure.
I really find that interesting, like the ability now to do the 23andMe or Ancestry.com. My dad did that, and that has helped me a lot. I know it's helped him a lot. His dad passed away when he was young, and my grandma passed away in 2014. So now they're starting to piece together their history and finding out where they're from. And he did the Ancestry.com. and he, and then I guess me, by relation, mostly from Congo and
Oh,
Cameroon.
wow.
But we found out that we got some pictures, and his grandmother was born a slave, and so we have pictures of her with her.
Wow.
She's the daughter of slave owners, so it's one of those kind of things. So I have weird feelings about it, kind of sad feelings, but also just like beautiful to see where my family comes from. But I think that's really cool that, for Black people in America, by and large, we don't have a history beyond coming here. Nobody kept records where we were from, what we, pretty much. So when people have the privilege to say, oh, my grandmother's from Ireland and my so-and-so is from here, it's like, well, we can't say that, And so this is kind of a cool way of connecting us with that history that's been lost. So I like it.
Yeah, and it's part of your being is to have an identity. A lot of people's identity it's firmly rooted in their culture or where they're from, geography, and we don't have that. For me, my culture was pretty much music and food. We didn't really have we don't know where we're from, and I'm adopted on top of that, so I really didn't know where I was from. And then I was othered within the family because they were, a lot of them from Louisiana, so you have a lot of biracial people, and then I'm Black with dark skin and 4C hair, and so then it was that othering that I experienced within my own family. So it's just interesting to see, and I hope that for myself that going to Africa will help give me a greater sense of pride in where I'm from and an understanding of my people.
That connection.
Yeah. Anything else?
There's so much about race. I'll tell you a story. I have a story about children and race. And I think, growing up biracial, I have my issues, my whatever. For the most part, I'm pretty much okay with it. As far as people asking me stupid questions. People always ask me stupid questions.
Example, please.
Yes, an example. So pretty much everywhere I've gone at any time in my life, from teenage years to yesterday, somebody will come up always. Excuse me, where are you from?
I thought you were going to say, are you Hawaiian?
But yes, I would get that. So when I was younger, I had really long hair. So I always got that. And I don't want you to talk to me at all, basically. But if you're going to come up to me as a stranger, you can ask me, hey, give me a compliment first or something. And then say, what's your ethnicity or whatever. Because I'll get the question of, where are you from? And when I was in DC, oh, California? Oh, no. Where are you really from? But what I hated the most is the guessing game. I am not here for your entertainment. Don't come up to me and be like, are you Hawaiian? What is this question?
You used to get that a lot.
Are you Cambodian? Now I'm a little thicker. Are you Samoan? No. Who are you? Hi, I'm Emily. Nice to meet you. How are you going to come up to somebody and start questioning all their business?
Right? What gives you the right? It's boundary crossing. Or
I tell you, actually, I'm half Black and Filipino, and then you just almost you're disappointed and walk away. You and your friends were guessing and you got it wrong. I don't know what it is, but it's one of those things we're strangers. You come up and ask me a question that's caused me some issues in my life, personal to me, whatever. You ask me a question, I give you an answer, and then we're still strangers. Mm-hmm. Do you sleep better now that you know that girl that you met today is from wherever? I don't understand the need to dive in. Do I go up to you and say, oh, are you Polish? No, I don't care where you're from.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's are they trying to rank you? Oh, you got some Black in her. Ugh, okay, next.
It's another othering. It's you're not like the rest of us here, so we want to know, where are you from? What are you?
I wonder if that's the new way of saying the N-word, to kind of make sure that you keep yourself in check, well, let me ask her what she is. I don't want her getting too comfortable over here. I don't know.
I don't know. I've had this conversation with my husband, we have a lot of race conversations. Because obviously we grew up differently. We have different experiences with race.
Yeah.
He's pretty open to hearing about these things. He doesn't understand everything, but just, giving him that story. I remember he came back with, I don't know what his response was, but I remember saying something back growing up, imagine growing up and not seeing anybody who looked like you on TV. It's different now, but
it's very different now.
Our experiences, what's beautiful? Oh, it was Brooke Shields and Christy Brinkley, and they're, that's not
Lark
me.
Voorhees.
I guess. Don't look her up now. But just a lot of that. It was always not me. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
So to grow up with that, even if, you think you're a beautiful person or you think you're, all right or whatever, you're not that. You're not this standard. You're not, and I'm sure little white girls felt that too, but it's because they didn't have certain hair color, eye color, like ours was skin color. My skin color, you can't change that. So
yeah,
it was on a deeper level. Something deeper about you was not beautiful or acceptable or desirable. So.
And then when I was a kid, we used to make fun of each other. I remember kids would be like, "Oh, you're so black, blah, blah, blah. You're so black,
your
blah,
mom
blah,
was so
blah."
black. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, what's wrong with being black? Like all of these things we don't even think about. That stuff gets embedded into you if you're hearing it all of the time. And so it was always making fun of dark skin, or I remember people would make fun of Wesley Snipes and things like that because he was dark skinned. Yeah, it was just like, it had a negative connotation. If you're black, it's negative. And that's from other black people.
And then within that, the darker you are.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know.
Oh, I was going to tell a story about kids. Okay, so sorry. As a mom, okay, so we know I have issues trying to figure stuff out, whatever. But as a mom, trying to deal with that, you brought up, what are your kids or whatever. 2 years ago, when my daughter was in kindergarten, I've been very careful not to put race front and center. I want them to know people are different. God made us all different. He thinks we're all beautiful. She was in kindergarten, and she came home, and she was trying to color something. And this, hurt my heart. It, got me really, in my feelings. And she was like, "Oh, Mommy, can you pass me the skin color crayon?" And I was like, "What is that?"
Wow.
And it was the apricot crayon. It
peach,
says apricot.
It used to be peach.
Yeah,
yep.
Peach, whatever. Apricot. So I said, what color is this? And she said, "Oh, Mama, it's skin color." That's what my teacher told me. It's skin color.
It is her skin color, though, isn't it?
No. Well, that's when I had a teachable moment, and I busted out some crayons, and I put her and her brother next to each other, and I put my arm on the table, and I said, "Now, does this match your arm?" And no, she's got some color to her, a little tan, a little some. So I put it again, and she's like, "It looks kind of orange." And I said, I put it on her brother's arm. No, it doesn't match his. Does it match Mommy's? No. So I said, "Why are we calling it skin color? Do we call green grass color?" And she was just like, "No." And so now she calls it apricot.
Awesome.
And from there, I bought the multicultural Crayola crayon pack. So they have all the different colors of all the different people. But
you got to get ready to prepared for that.
Yeah, but I asked you if I could buy her a Black Girl Magic t-shirt, remember? I was like, "Oh, this shirt's so cute. It would be so cute on her." And you're like, "I wish somebody would tell her she can't wear that shirt."
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't present as anything but maybe white and Asian, maybe a little Asian, I would love to put her in a Black Girl Magic shirt. She is Black Girl Magic.
Exactly. She has her whole grandfather side. It's like, come on, she's God black. I mean, we're not even going to go into this whole stupid one drop or whatever BS. But I was thinking, it's not the first time you're going to encounter this when she starts wearing bras and things like that. Nude.
Mm-hmm.
How
yes,
nude is that apricot color again, and
that
then
peachy
stockings, color. And there's no. They're trying to make some more brown ones, but it's mostly black. You have to go to black.
Who wears them anymore?
Yeah, or sheer. Exactly. But I'm just saying, even with underwear and things like that, and the nude.
Well, that's one of the things I think is beautiful is Misty Copeland and ballet. My daughter does ballet, and I just think it's amazing that she has kind of shown us that now they're making ballet slippers. Pink was the color because the ballerinas were like a pinky white, but now they come in different colors, different tones, and it's beautiful. And I've seen a lot of ads, a lot of specials on YouTube and stuff that I've watched with my daughter, where they have ballerinas of color, different shades of color, and it shows their shoes. And it's beautiful because it's supposed to be seamless. That you're not supposed to see lines on a ballerina, so that's why it's supposed to be skin toned shoes. It's just supposed to be a long line, and so now it's so beautiful. Something simple. It seems simple, but it's just so beautiful to see.
Exactly.
The breakthrough in that area. So,
right?
Go Misty.
It's just so crazy how long it takes to get these little breakthroughs. I remember I was looking at a picture of myself from, I don't even remember, maybe 2007 or something, and I had this foundation. I looked like a ghost.
Because they didn't make anything that matched us. They did not. Terrible.
I got so lucky, and I just don't wear it anymore. But I have some, and it's so funny because my foundation is Italian because they have darker skin,
Uh-huh.
and it's perfect. It's called Sienna, and it is perfectly. I always get compliments when I wear it, but it's
Hey.
hilarious because like I have to get an Italian. Well, obviously now we have more lines and things like that. But it's just crazy. Like everywhere you look, like people say, "What is race?" These little things you don't think about. If I kept a diary of race, I wouldn't be able to do anything because it's everywhere.
And I think that's part of the stress and part of the frustration, and that's also illustrative of privilege. If you
Yes.
can go through your entire day and not think about the color of your skin, congratulations. That's amazing because everything, like you said, makeup, getting ready in the morning, makeup, getting your hair ready for the day. And there's some things that I don't even understand. I mean, there's a lot about quote unquote blackness that I still am learning.
Yeah, wear those goddess braids, girl.
I know, I need somebody to braid my hair up. I'm excited, but then I'm also feeling like, can I do that? Like, I have a lot of that feeling. Like, can I wear that? Do I have to explain myself to somebody? You know what I mean? That's a weird.
Yeah, I think that's a
That's
personal
in me.
thing.
That's in me for sure. I know that, but I just especially where I live, where there's like all of maybe 3 Black people in the whole town. Like
Yeah,
it's that feeling of I represent more than just myself in this community type
exactly.
thing. Yeah, and I don't want to, but I guess I do.
I feel like I have a little more freedom because I'm single, but like you're also a mom and things like, and a wife, and so you have to look out for other people, which it sounds like, what are we talking about? We're talking about freaking race. It's not like you're doing some kind of committing crimes or something. Like I feel like I'm unapologetically Black. I'm proud to be
I
Black.
love that.
I don't care what you have to say. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, and despite everything that we go through, I couldn't imagine being something else. I don't
Yeah.
want to. Like the only thing want to be is a man. But I don't want to be I don't want to be white or anything. Maybe for a day just to see, how great it is. Like one of those shows where they put you in an outfit and you see people like buying you stuff and picking up your groceries and everything.
We were supposed to be talking about racial, the beginning of our racial consciousness or whatever.
Yeah, I think for me it was really hair based.
Really?
Outside of like the movies and things like that, it was getting relaxer put in my hair, getting Jerry curl put in my hair, and the burning and the sores and things like that, and torturing myself. It wasn't until I was about 21 or 22 that I stopped doing that.
Really?
And yeah, because or no, not even wait, 23 or 24 when I stopped doing that. Because then I just started getting I started getting braids and stuff like that, or then I would press my hair. And then I got into this habit of just shaving it off because I didn't want to deal with it. And so I'm kind of still in that in and out right now and then braids. But yeah, the whole hair thing, that's a whole different topic because then we have the natural hair community, which is almost like a race to see who can have the least kinkiest hair. So it's just insane.
When I was in college, I mean, we talked about dating, but that's when I had my first, I mean, I went to high school growing up, whatever. There were maybe like 1 or 2 Black guys at the school. So we've talked about how we date interracially. We've mostly dated white guys. But when I got to college, I had a Black boyfriend.
More than me.
No, but that's another way that I understood race a little bit better. The friends that I made in college, the first boyfriend that I had in college, I mean, I learned a lot. I didn't know anything about anything. And I feel like this is hilarious. He taught me how to wrap my hair after I pressed it. I never did that. I would straighten my hair out, go to sleep, wake up, jacked up. Like the whole thing would be messed up or whatever. And the clips and the scarf, he was teaching me how to, all that stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. We were talking about hair, but like, I didn't even know about that. Or just playing, Taboo and different games and having things like Black Panther come up. And I didn't know too much about the Black Panther movement. You learn Martin Luther King Jr., you learn Rosa Parks, maybe some Harriet Tubman, and you're on your way. That's right. Thank you.
Frederick Douglass.
Barely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think college was good for me in that respect. It showed me that maybe you aren't just Filipino, because Filipinos aren't looking at you like you're Filipino. but there's this whole other side to me that maybe I didn't learn about or wasn't exposed to. Not to say that all Black people know all Black facts.
Exactly. I definitely don't.
Right. But there was a lot that I didn't know. And you talk about being unapologetically Black. And I think that the first 2 years of college for me were when I fell in love with my Blackness. Like, I mean, this is a girl who grew up in Southern California, you know, wearing Roxy Surfer stuff and like everybody thinking I'm Hawaiian. And I just embraced it like, okay, I guess I'm Hawaiian, you know, to feeling that way, to just being around Black people. It was energizing for me. Is that, if that sound makes sense, you know, like it was good.
Yeah. I had to be very intentional about learning about Black culture and things like that because the educational system wasn't really giving me anything.
Terrible.
You know, slavery, and states' rights. Like, that's what they said. Like, that's the kind of stuff I was taught. And so...
Well, you in the South, too, and you guys get a different history, I feel like.
I joined NAACP, and I'll never forget, then I quit. I was like, we're nothing but crabs in a barrel, and I wrote this whole letter and everything.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
then I decided to go back, and they made me read the letter out aloud to everyone. But I did it. That was the kind of one of my first experiences in like eating crow, I guess. And then and then I minored in African American studies. And so I learned a lot, but I still I didn't know half of these people. I still don't know, but it's interesting to learn. I remember when I was around 15 or 16, I was really into Marcus Garvey and Back to Africa movement. And I thought, wow, that would be great. Why don't we go? And then I started looking, and what I saw was that a lot of the people were not really about racial liberation. It was more about making themselves the master. So instead of saying, let's start a community where we can enrich Black people, it was more about, well, I'm sick of these white people being in power. I want to do the same thing as a Black person. You know what I'm saying? And so now we're dealing, we have Liberia, things like that. Like, I really would love to have a great example of this. And I don't know, maybe it does exist. So if anyone knows, feel free to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. Let me know.
So you said in college you had to be intentional.
Well, in college and in high school, as far as joining NAACP, because my family, we're a working class family from Louisiana. Nobody graduated college. Yeah, so Black culture wasn't taught. Like, it wasn't something that was taught to me. It wasn't taught in school. And I really was curious about learning more because, like you said, we don't have the rituals and things. Some people do, but we didn't. My family, we didn't have any kind of ritual outside of food and music. And so, of course, MLK, that's all, everybody knows MLK.
That's it, yeah.
And that's it. So, yeah, I didn't really know anything. So I just was curious to learn more about Black people and our contributions and things like that. I would get books when I was in high school. So it was really a lot of teaching myself. I can't say I remembered much, but it was a part of my growth process and a part of understanding who I am, especially when I didn't have a lot of Black friends. So I wasn't learning from my friends.
Yeah, same. I feel like that's a plus to college, to me, is being exposed to different types of people. Like, I know a lot of people criticize, oh, you don't have to go to college. Like, that's elitist to think you have to go to college, and you don't. But a lot of my education and growth wasn't from the classroom in college.
Exactly.
And it was, having a Jewish roommate. I went to Catholic school my whole life. Like, I had never really, I think I had met one Jewish person my entire life. So, I learned a lot about other cultures and religions. And then also just finding my identity through, finding my Blackness through other friends pointing things out to me, teaching me things, through taking African American studies courses, and reading. I mean, some of the stuff that I read, it's, Audre Lorde. I love the poetry. So, Langston Hughes and just all that. Because, and this is how I feel about the Constitution in law school and stuff, but I think, you being an African American studies minor and me having taken some African American studies courses, I feel like there's so much more that you can learn and understand. We get a month, February. And all they want to do is hammer in MLK. And it's like, great, we could talk about him. He did great things, but he is not the only Black person to have advanced people from slavery to today, where we had a Black president. There's so many. Today, I'm still kind of in awe of the things that I learned about, the first female millionaire was Black. Like she
Well, oh
had a
yeah.
skincare
Was this the
line.
hair?
The hair and skincare, yes.
Yeah,
Like, I'm just
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like a lot of things you're not taught about. We're always taught about, Thomas Edison or like, Benjamin Franklin and the kite and all this stuff. And it's like, well, let's talk about people of color, not just Black people, but people of color who have contributed to this country through science or through, literature.
Yeah, there's so much.
And we're not
Like
taught.
the technology that what was now GPS was, I believe, a Black woman. And so it's just crazy. Like if you look it up, but you're not taught that, because if you're taught that, then you realize that you're human, and and others will realize
that,
you're
hey,
human.
Black
and then
people are smart too.
Yeah,
Black people are
like,
capable
gosh,
too, right?
Like, and I feel a sense of pride in that. Honestly, it's like we didn't have freedom. We didn't have half the stuff. We're getting shot left and right. We're living on edge all of the time, and we are still accomplishing so many things. I'm like, imagine if we had the freedom of privilege, how we would be. I can't imagine. And so that's what I think it is. It's like, you can't know your history, because if you don't know your history, you don't know yourself. You want to go kill each other, have all these kids, and do all of the negative things they want to perpetuate and show you that's happening. That's not the truth. They want to show you this culture of poverty or whatever. They want to show you these people killing each other and things like that. But when you see all the accomplishments and everything, you start to build an esteem. And I think that people don't really see that. And then also, like, with relationships, the people are quick to say, oh, Black men don't marry Black women. But most Black men marry Black women.
Right.
And most Black women are married to Black men who get married. I mean, there is a large percentage that marries out, but still, it's not like it doesn't exist. And I think that narrative that keeps getting drilled into us is almost like a form of eugenics or something like that, or genocide or something, like, where it's like, eradicate us and let us believe these things, and then we start perpetuating. And that's what I hate. Honestly, I think it's because I was bullied by Black people for being Black and not liking the same things. I understand how it works. The system gets you, once you start taking on that role, you're perpetuating the racism within yourself. So it's like, what did they say? Set it and forget it. So now the system is working within us. I don't know what to do about it. I can talk about it, but I don't really know.
I mean, what can you do?
Is there a solution?
Well, I mean, so I guess that was a little something on race.
Yeah.
The beginnings and a little bit of the middles and some of the ends. Being
Some
called
of
the
the
N-word.
ends.
Being beaten with, nap mats. And,
I'm sorry, that's not funny.
Burning our scalps with all the lie. And I don't know. Black is beautiful. Mixed is beautiful. Everything's beautiful. Everything is beautiful.
Yes. Sounds of Blackness.
You know what? Okay, on that point, I do feel like there is something that I connect to and feel is just so beautiful, is I feel there is a soul to Blackness. There is a shared hurt in Blackness. I feel like there is, you can hear it in voices. Yes. I mean, and this is going to sound, I'm probably not correct, PC, whatever, for saying this, but there is it. When you hear another Black person speak, you hear the soul in them. There is something to that. There is the tone in a voice, the depth. I'm crazy right now, probably, but
how racist of you.
I don't know how to explain it. There's a story. You hear somebody speak and you can feel like the velvet, like it's smooth. And I remember the first time I heard like slave songs, slave singing and things like, I mean, I connect with that. I don't know that people who are not Black connect with that. And I feel that. I
think so.
I feel
Black
that
music's consumed. Well,
I'm not talking about like current popular music. I'm talking about the slave song. And when I hear, like, my dad has what I consider to be a deep, soulful voice. Women will probably say, Black men have sexy voices, I guess, whatever.
He needs to have a radio show.
But when I hear a voice like that, it connects me to those songs. It connects me to a shared overcoming of hardship and struggle and strength and resilience. And so that's something that I feel is beautiful. And that's something that I feel in my body as a connection with race. I don't know if that makes sense.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because that's something that has been an issue for me. It's because I do sing, and for a long time, some Black people would be like, why are you singing like that, putting on a show for these white people or something like that? And it's like, I can sing. I like to sing. And I think that's why I kind of stopped singing. And
don't stop. Don't ever
I'm,
stop.
and so I've been practicing. That's something I've been working on, is just to start singing and singing for myself, because I notice my voice, it doesn't come out completely because I'm so nervous about what the external thinks, but it's not for them. It's supposed to be through me. And so just focusing more on that and singing. If I want to do karaoke and the audience is all white, I'll do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm not Sambo. I know who I am.
Oof.
Why should I hide my gifts?
Right? Agreed.
But just little things like that. You always, like, you have to be on high alert.
Yes. See?
God, can't do anything. It's like you said, like a representative for the whole crew. Oh, like one day I was eating watermelon or something.
Oh, Lord.
And somebody came by and was like, I can't believe you're eating. And it's like, who cares? It's delicious. You know?
Okay,
like,
no. Can we talk about our memory, our shared?
I just thought of that.
Okay. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We
That
were
was
working.
out of a movie.
We were working together, and we had a white colleague with us, and the elevator door opened, and out stepped another coworker who didn't work with us but worked in the same company in some kind of a sundress and flip-flops.
I thought it was overalls.
Was it? I feel like I'm seeing denim overalls, but some kind of
denim overalls.
She looked like she stepped off a farm or something, and she was eating a whole ass watermelon.
Like a whole,
yes,
the whole thing.
And she's
not
a black coworker, and she was just coming out like, I mean, it was just a mess.
And the overalls weren't even on completely.
No,
like
girl.
one was loose. Oh God! And then you and I just started dying, and then the white guy was like, I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, he's like, can I laugh at that too?
He was like, I wasn't going to say anything.
But yeah, so you can't do anything. You can't eat certain foods without filling a stereotype. You can't, it's a whole thing.
But I do. I think that's what I meant when I said unapologetically black. Like, I don't, like I said, my family was food and music. I love it. Like with New Year's, I had my greens and black eyed peas.
Uh-huh.
And so things like that. I will eat watermelon in public. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll sing. I don't care. I'm just going to be me. I wear my hair the way I want to wear my hair that is growing out of my head. Okay.
And don't nobody else touch it, please. I hate that.
Yeah. Okay. So, for me, I think I had issues because I don't like people crossing my boundaries as far as touching me.
Yes, we know about your boundaries.
Except for hair. Because it feels so good. I remember this lady came up to me and started rubbing my hair, and I was just...
what?
Almost... That felt amazing. I was like, oh, God.
You almost what? Girl, stop.
Girl, I can't say it. But it was like, wow, that felt good. And so
yeah, it does feel
I understood
good,
that she wasn't supposed to do...
Did you know her?
I knew her, but we weren't cool like that. Like, she had no business touching me. But still...
I don't think anybody has any business. Like, I don't like people... Yeah. I tell my kids, don't touch my hair. I don't like anybody touch people. If I go through whatever I go through to get it looking right, you best not touch my hair. I'm going to be very upset. This has been since I was younger. Do not touch my hair. I think it
stopped more recently because of just all of the news and things, like people getting more awareness about it. Nobody really does that to me. I think 2009 or 2010 was the last time anyone touched my hair. And I'm like, why do you guys have to ruin it for everyone?
I think that's the same. That's the same as where are you from? Can I touch your hair? What do you like? The curiosity about textures and like.
Well, and then what about, I was always wearing braids and weave, and people are like, oh, how did your hair grow? It's like, my hair didn't grow. What are you trying to say?
Or if people are like, is that your hair? I mean, I bought it.
Yeah, that's what I say. That makes people uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, I bought it.
Because they shouldn't be asking you stupid questions. Are those excuse me, are those your breasts?
It's like, why am I protecting you? I bought it. Now what? Race.
Pretty much.
Always something. I'm sure the next time we talk, there's a million things will have happened regarding race in the United States alone.
Yeah. One more question. How you feel about that N-word?
Oh, like using it? I don't like it. The vibration is low for me, even in songs.
The vibration is low.
Yeah, and for me, what that means is it's something that's not aligned with my truth, and that makes my stomach sink. So it just doesn't sit right with me.
To use it or to hear it, right?
To use it, or it doesn't. Honestly, doesn't really bother me, but it's just like I don't want to use it. It's just personally, I don't want to use it. I tried, I was trying to be that whole, we Black people, we own the word. So, all my get down. And I'm like, no, not for me. It doesn't feel natural for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But hey, do you? You don't do that.
No, I'm good. That word makes my stomach turn.
Right? Yeah. I can hear it in a movie or something. I'm like, whatever. But like to hear it coming out of my mouth, I feel like people are finding ways to embrace Blackness. And I used to have speaking of hair, I used to have a thing with like, why are all the celebrity Black people with blonde flowy hair? Are they celebrating Blackness or are they perpetuating? And then I just realized people just want to
do what they do. Yeah.
It's nothing to do with.
Sometimes it's not deeper than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the hard thing though, is how do you know? You don't know.
And so that's why I'm like, I just
live
on it for myself. And you don't like it, you don't look.
I'm not for everybody.
I'm not for most.
Yeah.
I'm exclusive, baby.
Well, so that's race part 1 of like 500.
Right?
Yeah. That's all I got.
All right, boo. Love you.
Love you too. Bye. Hey, thanks for catching this episode of Two Girls Shooting the Shit with Em and Mo. New episodes drop weekly. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.